Hey everybody, it's Perch. You know, I've talked about social media before. I've talked about its relation to comics before, and I think social media remains a incredibly powerful marketing tool that is very effective for publishers and creators. It's a way to instantly talk to a large group of audience with really no cost. I think that's the curious part about social media and how it's handled today and how people wield it is that it is if you're already producing artwork, you're producing content, producing movies or photos or solicitations or whatever, then social media, it's really time, and of course time is money. But being able to post up some pencils or some panels or some sketches or remind people of solicitations or for love of God, just on Tuesday prior to New Comics Day, to say, here's what's coming out tomorrow. These are the books. Here's the covers. It's not that hard. And if you're a big company, you can even stage out these tweets. You can have them automatically go out, so you can go have a beer or whatever you're doing during the middle of the day. You don't even have to sit there in front of the keyboard and do anything. But social media as a marketing platform is very, very powerful for visual mediums like comics. It's just perfectly tailored for it. Yet it is used very, very poorly. It's used for whatever reason. Large publishers and even places like Image, they will do tweets or stories based off of special things going on or non-comic things going on. Like here's a video about some celebrity dropping by the Marvel offices. I mean, that's cool. That's good, relevant social content, but it's not the product that you're shipping 20 plus titles a week out into stores with. It's not. You're not actually marketing any of that stuff. You have maybe a kind of what feels like a 1995 circa information website where and why I use that description, because just putting the comics up there in kind of a list format with a cover thumbnail, that is 20 years old technology, but that's what they do, and then very little for social media. It's a tragedy. So what you see is you see creators augmenting themselves, promoting themselves on social media, and then some grumbling about it, like, why should I have to, why is comics a case where I have to market my own stuff? And we've talked about this before. It's a legitimate question. Good for their careers, so that's why you do it. It's because it's good for you. But it speaks to the fact that social media has so many easy ways to kind of reach out, get people excited, spread the word, market all of the crowdfunding stuff. As much as all the people who do crowdfunding often want to tout kind of their, pat their self on the back for raising all this money. The genesis behind it was that they used social media to attract an audience. They didn't use print marketing campaigns. They didn't go out and blanket cons with their book. They social media was the marketing driver. And so if you can make, as an unknown person, 25, 40, 50, $100,000, and that's certainly not most people. I mean, the success stories in crowdfunding are great, but it's the one out of 20 that, or maybe at best, that are getting that kind of money. The rest are not. And that's not to say it's down. It's just we hear about all the success stories. You don't hear about the others. But the point is, if you're able to attract that audience, market and solicit on social media and use it and get that kind of money, then clearly it's a powerful platform. But it's not used for that, and I think that's why you see a lot of the frustration, I believe, within comics and fans when social media is more a battleground for people screaming about things, or somebody getting outraged about this, or this person is a SJW, or this person is a Nazi, or whatever the phrase of the day is, because that's the content that's getting circulated, and in a weird way, that stuff takes more work, a lot more work, for a creator or an influencer or anybody with a decent amount of following to create original outraged content, as opposed to simply, Sean Gordon Murphy, who is well loved by a large percentage of people who complain about this stuff. He will post up, here's a sketch of Batman, Here's a panel in progress. Here's a cover. Here's a this. Here's a that. And what do you know? It works. He gets tons of retweets, tons of likes. Jordan White, the X-Men editor, he will post up just pretty basic things. Here's something coming up in X-Men. Here's a thing we're doing here. Here's a cover reveal here. In a lot of cases, this art's already gone out into the field. You can find it on Newsarama or any of these sites because it's preview art, and he's posting some of these pages up. So it's like he does some other content too. I'm not knocking it. Well, I'm doing the opposite of knocking it. He's doing something very effective, and he gets people excited, and he gets retweeted, and it's all very good. This is common sense. The outrage and the anger and those topics. What's curious about it is I've listened to a couple videos on this, and it's like the first half of the video I'm in a complete agreement with, and then the second half is where I feel people lose the plot. And what I mean by that is in the first half, people are saying, hey, there's a really small group, anywhere from 10, 12, 15, 20, 25, small group of people who are making all the noise, and they're getting mad and they're outraged and they're wanting, revenge, and they're demanding apologies, and they're just acting like jerks on social media. They're acting like they're throwing tantrums, basically. And what I agree with people who comment on this is it's a tiny group. It's in all grand scheme of things, an insignificant group. It's a handful of people who I would agree are broken inside, who have gotten to the place where their entertainment, their life value is in screaming and shouting and getting likes and getting retweeted and getting attention from outrage. They're not even in it for money anymore. They're in it for attention. And their all their power comes from attention. You give them attention, they get stronger. That you're giving them what they want. You're making them happy. They don't really care if the attention's positive or negative, just attention. That's all that matters. And I agree those people are nuts, and they should be ignored. Whatever the field is, whether it's comics or gaming or news or any of that, the people who are kind of outrage warriors. And that's why I think, for me, I don't like the social justice warrior trait. It's too much of it. The bubble is massive for whatever that's supposed to mean. And it's not social justice. It's outrage. Let's call it what it is. The people who are screaming and wanting to get people in trouble and browbeating and all the rest. Those aren't people fighting for social justice. The people who legitimately fight for social justice are, by and large, decent people trying to make the world a better place. Whether whatever political ideology you're on, we social good for society is a good thing. This isn't that. It's outrage. It's people getting mad. It's saying, hey, you wrote this character in a certain way. Hey, I had in my head a fantasy about Venom and Eddie Brock being in love with each other, and you didn't give me that, so now I'm mad and you're a bigot. There's nothing that's social or justice about any of that. It's outrage. So these people are outrage warriors, which I guess is not a great, OW is not a great acronym for people to turn around, but that is what it is. So I wish people would just call it what it is. They're outrage warriors. And that's what they're for. So I agree with the videos that call out that behavior. But I don't agree with the second half. The second half comes to, okay, if there's somebody who is a crazy person, who's malicious, who is causing trouble just for attention, and that's how they make themselves valuable, well, what's the antidote to that? Don't give them attention is the antidote. Cut them out. When you see them, block them. I'm not a fan of block bots. I completely disagree with the use. But on a case-by-case basis, an individual, if there's somebody, right, left, liberal, conservative, whatever it is, who's going to act like a loon and continue to scream and shout and call names and badger you. And there's a guy who is he pops up every once in a while on social media, and he's like, oh, Perch is a scumbag. He likes drinking coffee. I'm like, that's the weirdest insult I've ever heard in my life. But Perch is nice to people. That's why he's such a jerk. I was like, okay, I mean, guilty. But after over and over and over with that stuff, yeah, eventually this guy is not bringing anything to the table. So what should I do? Should I engage with him and, no, let me argue with your crazy point? Of course not, because Again, positive or negative attention, he's getting attention. That's what he wants. Cut these people off. And for whatever reason, they recognize that these individuals are trolls and manipulative, and they're out for no good. They recognize that, but the solution, as opposed to ignore them and cut them out and starve them from attention, the attention they crave, the result people come to is, we got to fight them, we got to beat them back. No, you don't. That is the worst idea, because you're not fighting. It's not like a war or a battle. It's not like two people with guns trying to hold territory. It's not like two companies trying to come up with the same product and one's going to get the money and one's not. You have one person fighting for peace and sanity, and you have the other person fighting for attention. So the person fighting for attention, it doesn't matter. They can burn down the whole world as long as they're getting attention, and that's their victory criteria. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. You can't win with those people. You cannot have a rational conversation. You can't. There's no victory. So the fighting is you don't gain anything from fighting. You don't win anything. And so, as I said, the first half, these people are loons. That's good. The second half of, so we got to take the fight to them. No, no. The second you take the fight to them, they win. That you've given them a victory. There's no moment where you win in a fight with somebody who's only seeking attention. Like a child throwing a tantrum for attention. You give them attention, you are feeding that tantrum. And when I started on this, social media is a powerful platform for marketing and promotion and spreading the word and building an audience. And whether you're Marvel or DC or a massive publisher, or whether you're a crowdfunder doing your own independent work, or maybe you're an individual who wants to get work somewhere else, you have to bravely go forward and market your stuff and use social media for how it's intended, and where it can be successful for you. That's the victory. That is how you make a lot of money. That's how you get a lot of attention. That's how you get a lot of stability. That's how you grow an audience. The outrage people have no creativity, no product, no ability to think of a product, and the only thing they have to grow their audience is outrage. So giving it to them is making them successful. And there's a lot of people out there, whether they're comic creators or whether they're commentators or news sites, whatever it happens to be. There's tons of people out there, and they deserve your attention. Those are the people to pay attention to, not the angry mob. Anyway, what do you think? Are these people annoy you? Have you already ignored them? Do you just like mute, block? What do you do to get around this? And what should we do? What should other people do? What's your advice? Like, subscribe, notify. Make sure you're still subscribed. Click that little button down there. It's easy to do and fun too. I guess. I don't know. Just trying to rhyme. Thanks for listening.